is America's accountant, and he knows the ramifications. He actually brought the story to my attention here. He's a friend of the show, Mr. Dan Geltrude. Thanks for being on, Dan. All right. There's a lot of machinations going on about it. Why don't you boil it down to the basics and give it to us straight?
Sure. So this is what it's going to come down to. Trump has to deal with this issue. And the reason he has to deal with it is because there's such a thin majority for Republicans in the House. And there are Republicans that are saying, Scott, unless we do something with SALT, meaning restoring that deduction possibly to what it was before, or at least increasing it from the $10,000 cap, they won't vote for it. So what happens is Trump's entire tax package, which you can make an argument for is the backbone of his economic package, is not going to go through. Now, let me break down the two sides of this story. The first side of the story is that in the high tax blue states, which arguably have been completely irresponsible fiscally, are looking to get that break. The red states or low tax states, Scott, right? They're saying, wait a minute, why should we subsidize you when you can't run your state right? Because remember, when all these tax discussions go on, there's a cap to the whole thing, right? So if the SALT deduction comes back or it's increased or whatever the case is, Scott, you got to give up something on the other side to make it all balanced. That's what the big fight is going to be about here.
So just to simple it, I mean, just for the viewer, if my state and local real estate, semi real estate tax is $20,000, I used to be able to just write that off of my tax return, but then with the new tax deal with the Trump's 2017 tax cuts, he capped that. You can only write off $10,000, right?
Right, but Scott, it's not just the real estate taxes; it's all state and local taxes.
Right.
So I'm in New Jersey; it's expensive here. Our real estate taxes are astronomical, and our income taxes are astronomical. We used to be able to deduct all of that with no limit. Now it's all your state income tax and all your real estate tax getting capped at $10,000.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get out.
There are very, very few people in states like New Jersey and New York and California and Connecticut, that are going to get much benefit from that. So that's why you have these states clamoring. We got to bring that back because, those taxpayers got hurt.
Yeah, I mean, which makes sense. So what do you think is going to happen with this? I mean, there's going to be some, trading back and forth here, obviously. What are we going to see that cap rise? Are we going to see it rise a lot? Are we going to see it stay the same? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, if I had a bet here, Scott, what I think they're going to do is they're going to take it from $10,000 up to $20,000 for married couples filing jointly, right? So they're ultimately going to double it. But keep in mind, some of the promises that Trump made, what did he say? No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. He's got to make room for those somewhere in this tax plan. How about this? Auto loans, he wants those to be tax deductible. So that's why I don't think he's going to be able to take the cap away. And probably the most I believe he can get away with in the compromise is doubling it to $20,000. And when that happens, everybody will be unhappy, which is probably the right answer.
Right, because this, just to get my head around it for everybody out there, it's the wealthy that are going to be, which would really benefit from having it back to unlimited, right? You could write off all of your stuff, right? So, and the wealthy in the blue states, there are not that many of them, but they're very wealthy, right? In Chicago, New York, and California, correct? And so,
yeah, that's going to be the argument, Scott, that the wealthy are going to really benefit from this, and they are.
Right, exactly right. So the lower that cap is, the less of the wealthy benefit from it, which puts pressure on some of those guys that or gals that represent those wealthy areas in those blue states in Congress, correct?
That's right. And what it means is that Republicans are going to have some of those seats in high-tax states, blue states, in jeopardy if they don't get something done.
That's what I was getting after there, sir. You read my mind. Okay. Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you very much for coming on the show. You made it real simple for us. Dan Geltrude, America's Accountant, coming to us from Nutley, New Jersey.